Think of elegance and luxury in fashion, and one name inevitably dominates the discourse: Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel wasn't just a name. She was a revolution in the haute couture world. Her legacy and intertwining of personal flair with profound social impact. Her journey from a modest upbringing to becoming the queen of fashion illustrates a narrative of resilience, innovation, and transformation, changing women's fashion forever and redefining what it meant to be a modern woman in the 20th century. Born on August 19, 1883 in Saumur, France, Coco Chanel's early life was marked by hardship and tragedy. Her mother's death and father's abandonment led to her placement in an orphanage where she was raised by nuns. This period, though stark, introduced her to the sewing skills that would pave her path to greatness. The discipline and precision she learned in the austere environment of the orphanage would later reflect in her minimalist yet elegant designs. The harsh realities of her upbringing in the orphanage at Aubizine, which emphasized self-reliance and practical skills, were a stark contrast to the opulence of the period's mainstream fashion. This dichotomy profoundly influenced Chanel's aesthetic preferences towards simplicity and practicality. Historical context, like the prevalent styles of the late 19th century, characterized by ornate dresses and heavy corseting, set the stage against which Chanel would later rebel. Her move from the orphanage to singing in cabarets provided her first exposure to affluent patrons, whose flamboyant styles likely offered both inspiration and a counterpoint to her emerging design philosophy. Chanel's foray into fashion began during her brief career as a singer in the cafes of Moulins. It was here that she earned the nickname Coco, possibly derived from her rendition of popular songs. Her keen observation of the affluent clientele she entertained, coupled with an innate understanding of style and comfort, led her to envision fashion that eschewed the era's constraints of corsets and cumbersome fabrics. During her time in Moulins, Chanel's interactions with cavalry officers and affluent clientele introduced her to a world of sophisticated tastes and luxury fashion. The social and cultural milieu of the era, with its Edwardian corsets and elaborate hats, served as both an inspiration and a challenge to Chanel, who absorbed these influences only to reject their restrictions. Her choice to begin designing hats was inspired by the practical need to cover her own hair during performances, which transitioned naturally into the world of fashion design. In 1910, with financial assistance from her then-lover Etienne Balsan, Coco Chanel opened her first shop on Paris's Rue Cambon, initially offering hats and later expanding to include clothes. Her designs quickly gained a reputation for their simplicity and elegance, stark contrasts to the elaborate styles prevalent among the upper class. This marked the beginning of the Chanel empire, which would later expand to include the iconic Chanel No. 5 perfume and the Chanel suit. Paris in 1910 was a hub of artistic innovation, home to movements like Impressionism and Art Nouveau, which challenged traditional aesthetics. Chanel's boutique on Rue Cambon opened amidst this fervor for newness, which permeated Paris's cultural and artistic establishments. Her shop's proximity to the Place Vendôme and the Ritz Paris Hotel placed her at the heart of Parisian high society, ensuring her designs were visible to the era's tastemakers and influencers, crucial for her brand's rapid acceptance and success. The 1920s and 1930s were transformative decades for Chanel. In a post-war world where women entered the workforce in droves, Chanel introduced the Chanel suit, an elegant ensemble featuring a knee-length skirt and a fitted jacket, crafted from tweed. This design not only provided comfort and mobility, but also subtly challenged gender norms, encapsulating a blend of masculinity and femininity. Perhaps even more revolutionary was her creation of the little black dress in 1926, which Vogue famously likened to the Ford automobile for its universal appeal and accessibility. This garment, simple yet sophisticated, became a staple in every woman's wardrobe, heralded for its versatility and understated elegance. The post-World War I era saw significant shifts in societal norms, with many women entering the workforce and gaining a taste for independence. This societal shift was reflected in the relaxed fashions of the 1920s, such as flapper dresses. Chanel's designs resonated with this new desire for both style and practicality. Her little black dress, introduced during the 1920s, transformed from a symbol of mourning to a statement of chic efficiency, while the Chanel suit, launched in the 1930s, borrowed elements from men's tailoring, reflecting and enhancing women's changing roles in society. In 1921, Coco Chanel launched her first perfume, Chanel No. 5, a scent that would become one of the most iconic fragrances in the world. Developed with perfumer Ernest Beau, it was the first to feature aldehydes, giving it a unique and enduring quality. Chanel's vision for her perfume was to encapsulate the essence of femininity and modernity, complex yet minimalist, luxurious yet accessible. The creation of Chanel No. 5 coincided with a period when the arts were exploring new expressions of modernity. The fragrance's innovative use of aldehydes, which created a unique abstract floral bouquet, mirrored the contemporary movements in art and music that favored abstraction and surrealism. The perfume's launch in the 1920s captured the essence of the modern woman Chanel epitomized: liberated, sophisticated, and distinctly urban. The outbreak of World War II tested Chanel's empire. She closed her shops, declaring that it was not a time for fashion. During the war, her relationships with German officers sparked controversy and allegations of collaboration, which tarnished her image temporarily. Despite these challenges, Chanel's post-war comeback in 1954, although initially criticized in France, won acclaim in the United States and Britain, reaffirming her status in the fashion industry. The Second World War disrupted every aspect of European life, including the fashion industry. Chanel's decision to close her shops during the war reflected not only the impossibility of luxury fashion in such times, but also a strategic retreat from public life as she navigated her complex position in occupied Paris. Her relationships with German officers brought her benefits, but also later accusations of collaboration, a common plight for many in the occupied zones. After the war, her return to fashion was met with skepticism in Europe, but was eventually re-embraced, particularly in America, where her comeback was seen as a return to luxury and elegance in the post-war era. Coco Chanel's impact on fashion is immeasurable. She not only introduced new concepts of beauty and simplicity, but also liberated women from the constraints of the corseted silhouette. Her emphasis on comfort and elegance in women's clothing was revolutionary at a time when the fashion industry was dominated by male designers prescribing restrictive glamour. Chanel's influence extended beyond the wardrobe into the realms of perfume, jewelry, and accessories, creating a comprehensive lifestyle brand that epitomized luxury and chic. She was not just creating clothes or fragrances, she was crafting the very identity of the modern woman, one who was independent, strong, and free. By redefining women's fashion, Coco Chanel did more than change how women dressed. She altered how they saw themselves and their roles in society. Her legacy can be seen in the continued popularity of her designs and the ongoing influence she has on contemporary fashion. Chanel's ability to synthesize the aesthetics of her time with innovative designs that answered the call for both freedom and luxury carved a niche that remained uniquely hers. Her story is a testament to the power of personal vision and resilience in the transformative landscape of 20th century culture and art. She once famously said, "Fashion fades, only style remains the same." Her work exemplifies this philosophy with designs that have stood the test of time and continue to influence the fashion industry. Chanel's journey from a humble orphan to a fashion titan showcases her unparalleled resilience and innovation.